Om Namah Shivaya, Episode 9, Chapter 2, verses 31 to 53, Karma Yoga. To qualify ourselves for Jnana Yoga, that we are Satchit Ananda Atma, we must be Karma Yogis, doing our righteous duties for the purification of our minds without a sense of doership. We must know that this body, mind, senses cannot do an action without Atma's presence, thereby renouncing our sense of doership. Arjuna was born a Kshatriya. His duty is to uphold righteousness, dharma. And as Duryodhana refused to give even a pinpoint drop of lead, it is Arjuna's duty to ensure that righteousness is restored. A soldier trains during peacetime to keep his wits sharp. And when he gets an opportunity to use his skill legitimately, he must show his skill. And Arjuna's weapons have gone unused for a long time, stockpiled and maintained. And most of Arjuna's missiles were in the form of mantras which he repeated daily. They were the power behind his weapons. Now the time has come for him to use his acquired skill and protect Dharma. By protecting Dharma, there is no reason for grief, because only a lucky Kshatriya gets this kind of battle without desiring. Whereas Duryodhana's intention are unrighteous. If Arjuna runs away from the battlefield, there are many disadvantages. First, he will incur sin. He will lose his honor. People will call him a coward. He will fall from the high esteem of other great warriors. His enemies will say unutterable things about him. Duryodhana will be given victory without a shot. Even the new recruits will say Arjuna ran away because of fear, and that his driver too ran away, not knowing it was Arjuna who brought Sri Krishna into this mess. If Arjuna fights like a karma yogi, there are two advantages. If he dies, he will go to heaven. If he wins, he will rule the kingdom. So lovingly Sri Krishna says, Tasmat Uttishta, please get up, either to defeat your enemies or to die. When we do our righteous duty, we purify our mind, thereby qualifying ourselves for the knowledge of Brahman. Without the knowledge of Brahman, our life is meaningless. Ignorantly as mumukshus, we'll be doing all the rituals recommended in the Vedas to fulfill our various desires like health, wealth, power, pleasure, thinking it will give us absolute happiness, not knowing that only by being jignasus, doing our duties for the purification of our mind, we qualify for the knowledge of Brahman to discover that absolute bliss is our nature. So Sri Krishna tells Arjuna, be free from the anxieties of accumulating and protecting your desires. Niryoga Kshema. Now go towards the end of the Vedas, Veda Anta, where the teaching of the Bhagavad Gita is. Do your duties by being established in Sattva Guna, Nitya Sattvastha. Do your duties for the purification of your mind. As you purify your mind, you get mastery over your body, mind, senses. You become an Atmavan. When you have mastery over your body, mind, senses, go towards Jnana Yoga, gain the knowledge of Brahman, convert it to wisdom, and you'll go above the three gunas, Nishtre Gunyo, to discover that absolute bliss is your nature. Then all the rituals recommended in the Vedas are of no use, just like the water in the reservoir is not needed when the entire country is flooded. Now we discover that absolute bliss is our nature. We do not seek happiness. We discover that happiness is our nature. Now, to qualify ourselves for the knowledge of Brahman, we must be karma yogis. As karma yogis, we must have a devotional and religious attitude towards Ishvara, the law of dharma that is governing the universe. We must see Ishvara's law in every aspect of our lives, in doing our duties and receiving the results. Even in misfortune, we must be able to see Ishvara's grace. Also, we should not run away from our duties. As Arjuna has dropped his bow, thinking if he fights this war, he may kill his grandfather. We have a purpose in life, and our prarabdha karma determines our purpose, which we have to fulfill. Otherwise, we have wasted our life but not using our intellect to gain moksha. So as a karma yogi, we must have two qualities. First, we must be skilled in action. Yoga karmasu kausalam. Do our duties by putting in this sixfold effort. By putting in proper effort, having the right knowledge, the right skill, and the required resources. Then with perseverance and courage, we must complete our duty and offer it to the law of dharma. Second, we must have evenness of mind with regards to the results. Karma phala samatva buddhi. The results can be any one of the four. It can be more than what we expected, equal to what we expected, less or opposite. Receive it as Ishvara's prasada. When we are able to receive it, we gain a peaceful mind. Therefore, Sri Krishna says, do your duty by putting the sixfold effort and allow the seventh factor, Ishvara's grace, Deva, to decide our victory or failure. Receive it as prasadam. This law of karma and the law of dharma is seen very clearly from the duties that we are required to do and the results we reap. Arjuna recognizes Deva in Ishvara as Sri Krishna is standing before him with a smile as though he knows nothing. When we protect dharma, dharma will protect us. And in the last verse, Sri Krishna says, to be a man of steady wisdom, sthitta prajna, we must be both a karma yogi and a jnana yogi. As a karma yogi, we must do our duties and purify our mind. As a jnana yogi, we must know we are not this body, mind, senses. We are Satchit Ananda Atma, absolute bliss. However, Arjuna is still deluded, still sorrowful, so he asks a question in verse 54. Otherwise, the Gita would have ended in verse 53 and Sri Krishna would have said Om Tat Sat and completed the Gita. We shall take a break at verse 53 before we find out what Arjuna's question in verse 54 is. Till then, Om Namah Shivaya.